Now I want to make note regarding verse 12 that the violence and the violent take it by force. Now that Jesus has come, that is no longer needed, but people will still try to take it by force in a passionate way. And verses 16 through 20 go over this. So let's go over those verses. 16. But whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in markets and calling unto their fellows, and saying, We have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented. 18. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he hath the devil. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Behold, a man gluttonous, and a winebibber, a friend of politicians and sinners. But wisdom is justified of her children. Then began, in verse 20, then began to upbraid the cities, wherein most of the mighty works were done, because they repented not. So this context is showing that they are still suffering violence, doing violence against the kingdom. So while they still suffer violence against the kingdom, they are not actually doing it to the kingdom, because before it was good and they were reaching and taking it by force. Now they're attempting to take it by force, in a sense, but it's not the same. It's not the same thing. Now that Jesus has come and they're mocking him, they're not fighting. They're actually fighting against the kingdom. They're not fighting for the kingdom as they were before in verse 12 and taking it by force. Now they are fighting against the kingdom, and still they're not taking it by force. They're all that zeal and passion, it's going the wrong way. They are rejecting the Lord. They are losing the kingdom by force. They are not listening to the Lord Jesus. They see him as a sinner. They see John the Baptist as a sinner because this transition is such a shock to them that they do not accept it. They were striving for the kingdom so passionately from the laws prophesied, waiting for this. But now that it's happened, they are blind to it. They don't even see it happening. Not all of them. And I think it's cool, not cool, but in a sense, blind. It's actually mentioned in this chapter earlier of what are the works that Jesus has done. Verse 5, the blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. The lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. I find it unique and a kind of coincidence that this is mentioned in verse 5, and that's exactly what happens. The deaf aren't hearing, the blind aren't seeing, in this sense, a figurative sense. In verse 16, likened unto children sitting in markets and calling to their fellows. The children saying, we did this, and you're not happy. Saying, in verse 17, we have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented. We have done this for you, and you don't care. It's all about us, what we do. It's not about the Lord. It's about what we do for you. That should count. But that's not about what Jesus is, but that's what these people are like. They don't care about the Lord. They care about their works and that they deserve it. But that's not what this is about. They are blind. And then for John in 18, for John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he is a devil, or he has the devil. They just completely reject him now. When they once listened to him, they reject him. It's not about John. It's not about what he's prophesying. And then even worse with the Son of Man, with Jesus. Verse 19, and the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Behold, a man gluttonous, and a winebibber, and a friend of politicians and sinners. And then, but wisdom is justified of her children. So they're saying these negative things about Jesus, even though he is the one prophesied. They are just blind to it. They think they still need to perform the laws, that this isn't right, this can't be right. So I just find that unique. And then that follows into verse 23, which also contains the word Heos, which we will be getting to in the next video. In verse 20 connects this amazingly. Then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. An upbraid is like a negative thing, to upheaval almost. to suffer, to cast. So, verse 20, then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. Again, they were relying on themselves, not the Lord. And then we go into verse 23, which is covered in the next video.